Hi, this is Eric Bredvig with the IGN Xbox team, here for a video review of Condemned 2 Bloodshot. This follow-up to the Xbox 360 launch title offers more first-person melee combat, more horror, and more crazy homeless people than you can shake a stick at. But it's not all just the same. Monolith has addressed almost every criticism that people leveled at the first game with great success in most areas.
Ready to have some fun.
The first Condemned game left a lot of people confused, but you can rest assured that you won't have that problem with the sequel. Monolith took a lot of care to close out all the loose ends of the first game and introduce a whole new plotline and storyline that can stand by itself. The game continues the story of Ethan Thomas, the star of the first Condemned, who has now left the SCU and become an alcoholic who's battling demons both imaginary and real. The sequel can stand on its own, so if you haven't played the first game, don't worry about it, although things will make more sense if you have. I don't want to get too much into the plot to spoil the game for anyone, but rest assured there are some moments in this game that you will never see coming. Then, on the other hand, there are some areas in the game that feel like they were just written in because the designers had a cool idea for a level. In the end, the fully fleshed out story is a nice addition, although it doesn't come off quite as satisfying as the open-ended Criminal Origins. Two of the main complaints that people had with the first Condemned game were that the combat was a little bit limited and the forensics was very limited. Both of those things have been addressed by Monolith in the sequel. When you go into a crime scene and have to figure out what happened, you'll actually have to go through and complete your own crime scene investigations. You'll actually have to go through and investigate the scene, answer some questions, and then you'll actually get rated at it at the end of the crime scene investigation. Occasionally the perfect answer seems a bit arbitrary, and since you are awarded upgrades based on how well you do the forensics, it can be a little frustrating, but overall this is a vast improvement over the first Condemned game. The same goes for the combat. The first Condemned game made waves mostly because of its unique style of melee first-person combat. Rather than giving you weapons, Condemned challenges the player to find something in the environment and beat up any enemy that comes at you with it. This can be anything from a toilet seat to a locker door to a bowling ball, and Monolith does a great job of just making you feel like whatever you can find in the environment is yours for the taking. For the sequel, they've added combos, fist fighting, environmental finishers, and really fleshed out what is a cool idea into something that can stand by itself. The only complaint I really have with the combat in Condemned 2 is that the game can sometimes lean too much towards shooting. In the first game, you'd get a gun and it would maybe have 2 bullets, and then you'd have to switch to something you found on the ground. In Condemned 2, there are whole sections of the game, especially towards the end, that give you a gun and put you against 5 or 6 guys who also have guns, and there's no other choice but to shoot it out. In this way, it seems like Condemned 2 sort of lost its way a little bit, and the focus of the game was lost. Monolith also added some things that you can do once you finish the main game. There's a thing called Bloodshot Fight Club, which is just quick, action-heavy challenges with leaderboard rankings. These are an okay distraction, but nothing more than that, and you'll probably play them a few times before growing bored of them. There's also a new multiplayer mode that's playable with up to 8 people, and quite frankly, it's totally unnecessary in a game like this, and the melee combat, especially in the deathmatch, mostly just becomes confused gameplay. There's one cool mode called Crime Scene, where they'll have a bunch of people who are trying to defend a box with a head in it, while a bunch of SCU agents are trying to capture it. For the most part, Condemned 2 does everything it sets out to do quite well. The immersion level is fantastic in this game, and that's very important in a game where horror and fear are some of the main themes. The occasional glitch, like frame rate drops or object physics not quite working right, can kill the immersion, but those are rare and not really that big a deal in the end. The third-person animations sometimes leave something to be desired, and also do a little bit to take you out of the immersiveness of the game. But on the other hand, the game has fantastic sound, even going so far as to taking simple combat and turning it into a cinematic experience with the use of great effects. The game, like all Monolith games, has genuinely creepy moments, and Monolith has really upped their game on Condemned 2. There's entire levels that will really creep you out, especially if you're playing them in the dark.
So that's Condemned 2 in a nutshell. It's a great change of pace from traditional first-person shooters, and Monolith's unique brand of horror is always a great thing to look forward to. The story in the game is oddly a little bit unsatisfying, but overall the package comes together quite nicely, and if you like the first game, this is a great pickup.